Welcome to Top 1%, the Estate Agent's Success Formula training videos. There are four modules. Let's have a look at them. If you wish to operate at the top 1% of income earners, these four videos will show you what you need to know in terms of essential knowledge requirements, which we will cover in Module 1, Module 2, Essential Operational Requirements, Module 3, Toolkit Requirements, Module 4, the Correct Current Market Valuations. This video being Module 1, the Essential Knowledge Requirements of a Top 1% Estate Agent. Let's have a look at what you need to know. The old cliche, know your areas as suburbs where you operate. But what does it mean? It means know the average asking price per square on the market today. Know the general rental yields in your suburb. Meticulously write down 4 good points and 2 poor points of each suburb. And know your capital gains tax basics. You can draw up your own data sheet or mail us for a copy. Let's have a look at what it means to know your area's suburb pricing per square. Now, we are data analysts and we perform this for most suburbs in South Africa, in London and some of the states in US. These are live pricing as at the 17th of November 2020. We have chosen South African suburbs Bantry Bay and Camps Bay, apartments and houses separated. Now, in terms of apartments, we have broken them into size categories of 91 squares and less, 91 between 91 and 160 squares, 161 to 250, and greater than 250. As well as a weighted average asking price per square meter. Now, why do you need to know this and how do you get this data? All buyers know the price per square meter in the suburb that they're interested in. They would look around. Internet has got sufficient information for them. They will study an area. They will study a size range that they are interested in, and they will quickly weed out overpriced property. They will reduce those properties to a square meter price, and that way they're easily able to evaluate different, shall I say, styles and sizes which they are interested in. Now, if we have a look at small apartments in Bantry Bay and Camps Bay, then they're less than 91 squares. The average price, the asking price per square meter of all the properties on the market in Bantry Bay are 45,160 and Camps Bay 55,000. If we look at above 250 squares, we're looking at Bantry Bay's asking prices at 100,456 and Camps Bay at 56,537. Now, it's important to know this also when taking on listings, because you need to avoid conflict with sellers, and it's good to show them what the competing properties are asking for in that particular size category. Same with houses. Now, just as a point of interest, as of July 2019, I drew out this data of ours, a data sheet. We had a look at Camps Bay, Bantry Bay, July 2019. Bantry Bay, the weighted average asking price was 78,765. To date is 81,927, representing a 4% increase in asking prices over an 18-month or 17-month period. Camps Bay has reduced its asking prices by 1.56% over the same time period. But this type of data is invaluable for an estate agent, and you will have to source it manually unless you subscribe to a company like ours that produces these figures for you, and you'll have to do it monthly, but it will not take you more than 1 day. Let's have a look at point number 2 of the essential knowledge requirements. The rental yield navigator. Now, rental yields per suburb or area are easily obtainable from any rental company or from your departments within your own agency. It's extremely easy to set up, and making use of little calculators will prove invaluable in answering potential investors' questions. You already have the live asking prices, which we have covered on the previous sheet. And now all you do is you add in the rental yields, which your own rental departments will provide to you. Now, whilst these price per square meters are exact or 100% exact science, these rental yields we have just put in for illustration purposes. What is extremely important for you to answer your clientele immediately and accurately is to have 3 little calculators. It took me no more than 5 minutes just putting this on this sheet, and you'll be able to do the same. Let's have a look at the first little rental yield calculator. We want to find out what is the yield produced on a recently purchased apartment in Bantry Bay, for example. We purchased it for 4 million rand, and the client is achieving a 18,000 rand per month net rental income. What is the yield produced? It's 5.4%. It would be wonderful to answer that off the cuff. Again, we going to another little calculator. You can do a desktop valuation based on the rental yields that your rental department has provided for you. We can have a look at perhaps we have a look at a small apartment in Camps Bay, and your department suggests they're getting 5% rental yields, net rental yields, and this particular apartment is enjoying a 17,000 per month net rental, and immediately it will provide you, based on the rental yield in the area, it will provide you with a desktop valuation of 4,080,000. Conversely, you might have a client that wishes to do extensions to his properties to the tune of 1 million, and the additional rental that he's hoping to enjoy is 6,000 per month. What is his yield on that extended portion of his property? 7.2%. Now, just this data alone, the rental yields in the area as well as the asking prices per square in the area, will put you in the top 2% of persons of knowledge of particular suburbs. And we will move you to point number 3, making yourself and your clientele aware of the good, the bad, and the ugly of each area. By adding positive and negative factors, you will have all the data necessary to provide a monthly newsletter. Now, it's easy to establish. You use your EQ, you establish the positive factors and the negative factors of each area. Why we say negative factors as well is because a negative factor of one area could be a positive for another suburb, so you can easily slide your clientele between them. Now, this data sheet alone will move you into top 1.5% of knowledge persons per suburb in your area. We've moved now to the last piece of information that is necessary for you to perform at the top 1%, and that is know the basics of capital gains tax. Now, the basics are quite simple. We all know that there's a 2 million non-inclusion 2020 for South Africans on their primary residence, and the 40% inclusion rate on the net gains, etc. But what this means to you as an estate agent, it will bring about massive credibility. It will lead to many referrals. Your clients will be extremely impressed that you are able to compute this for them in a flash. It avoids wasting time, the client having to visit an accountant first to calculate this. And also having the accountant probably deciding for the client not to put his property on the market or divert attention from the real point at hand. These calculators, you will have to ask assistance from either your company's auditors in order to compute or develop a capital gains tax calculator, because the calculator itself is quite complex. You have to compute personal tax, income tax first before you add the capital gains. Now I'll just show you our calculator. Many accountants, conveyancers and agencies utilize our calculators. I'll show you how simple in 3 steps you can calculate. A client age, let's say for example 50, his current taxable income, they all know what their net taxable incomes are. He suggests at 750, you can immediately tell him what his income tax liability is, 205,313 to the cent. And now you are proposing to sell his property, and you should have a net capital gain of 4 million. What is the implication? Now, we've calculated his income tax, we've calculated his inclusion amount. The inclusion taxable amount gets added to his taxable income, and a new tax gets calculated at 533K. The difference being 328K. So effectively, on the total net gain, the client will be paying 8.2%. Now, it is important, it is very important that you have all these levels of data and information to be the top 1%. It is very possible, knowing your average asking price will take you 1 day per month to source that data. Your rental departments will provide you with the rental yields. You will spend a couple of minutes writing down the good and poor features or poor points of each suburb, and you need to know capital gains tax to answer your clientele's questions up front. Those are the knowledge requirements, Module 1. I certainly hope you've enjoyed, and I certainly hope you watch Module 2, which is our essential operational requirements, Module 3, the toolkit requirements, and Module 4, how to correctly value residential property. Thank you for spending your time with us. Enjoy your day further.